So we are live. Hello everybody and welcome back to SRL F1 on the Xbox. Today we are in Suzuka, the Japanese Grand Prix for round 16, and I'm joined by Joe, or the Amazement, but he's just got to get his chicken nuggets, so I'm on my own for a second. But Japan, a classic circuit. You're back. Fantastic. Don't forget to include your audio.
I'm filled up. Yeah, I've done it. I've done it.
Cool.
I've not
Fantastic.
done what I did the other week.
Cool.
Carry on.
I will. Yeah, so we are here in Japan, a classic on the F1 calendar. We've had so many great memories here. You know, we've had Senna and Prost crashing. We've had Raikkonen overtaking Alonso in the last corner in 2005. There's so many iconic moments, and hopefully we have another one here in SRL tonight. And Joe, you got your chicken nuggets. You got your fueled up. Are you ready for the stream and at Japan tonight?
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready. But it was Fisichella Raikkonen got in 2005 in the last lap.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh my, what a mistake.
Yeah. Alonso started near the back with him as well, so I mean, he did pull off that amazing move into 130R around the outside of Michael Schumacher. We can't forget that one in that race, but
exactly.
I mean, who knows? We might see some more legendary overtaking like that tonight, and more last lap passes, but on the correct driver.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, that's a bit of a mistake by myself there. But yeah, Japan, nice and sunny at the moment. There's still quite a few minutes left in the session for these guys to get their laps in. But unfortunately, we don't believe we had a stream last week, Joe, due to, well, none of the commentators being available and low turnout. So I'll just double check the standings from last week. It looks like Ted won with Jason in second and Maranzano taking the last position on the podium in Malaysia, and it was a dry race as well. So Jason, I don't know if he can mathematically win the championship yet. Don't think he can, but he's not far off Joe. And Jason's had a fantastic season so far, and it could continue here in Japan.
Yeah, he really has had such a good season. I mean, just the consistency alone is what's won him, well, pretty much won him this title. Just being able to deliver consistent podiums, race wins at every track he goes to, and other drivers having, I don't know, mishaps, bad races, whatever during the season. Jason just doesn't seem to have any of those, does he, Chuck? So, no, fantastic season he's having, and you wouldn't bet against him getting in the top 3 at least in this race today.
Yeah, definitely been outside the top 10, sorry, the top 3 twice, which was in Monaco and Azerbaijan. So it shows how consistent Jason has been this season. But there's still plenty of drivers who can challenge him for the race win, at least today. We got, you know, Ted, Maranzano are both there. Joe is back. Unfortunately, Danny is not here this evening, so we won't be seeing any competition from him.
Oh, Ted. Oh, he's gone off at Degner too, as you were speaking. He's lost a bit of his front wing, so that's his that side of the quali run over. He just did that as you was talking. Ooh, bit of a mistake there. I do believe as well he was the other week he was still number 1 round this track on time trial, so I don't know if he still is, but he'd be right up there and be very quick, so that's rare to see a mistake, and that's just what we don't see from Jason, just them kind of mistakes. Which, as he goes on pole, coincidentally.
Exactly. Yeah, just the pole time. He's just been bumped on the second, actually, very recently by ESR Simon, who was beaten by only by a couple of tenths. So it shows Ted knows this track. And we saw it in Singapore as well, how good Ted is. But I think Ted's strategy and sort of mental game isn't as good as Jason's. You know, we saw Ted going 1 extra lap in Singapore, and that cost him the race. He lost 10-11 seconds by going an extra lap on the super softs, and that ruined his race in the end. So, you know, I think they're both very quick drivers, and as Joe goes top actually at the moment, but Ted comes into the pits. But you know, it comes down to how good they are mentally and how good they can gauge a race, really. But still 7 minutes to go in this session here, and plenty more laps for these guys to do, and plenty more action hopefully for us to look at, Joe.
Yeah, it's just going to be that part of the session, isn't it, where most drivers come into the pits, maybe 1 or 2 laps, which are being said. Maranzano actually sets a very good lap time, 28.4, so that completely disrupts what. So yeah, it's just going to get to that part of qualifying where we wait for drivers to do their runs. Of course, we don't know what the the race is going to be like in terms of weather. I mean, we know qualifying's going to be dry, but I mean, we could have anything for the race. I mean, even a dry race is exciting around here. It's such a challenging circuit. Maybe not the easiest to pass around here, especially on this game, but you know, turn 1 and 2 is definitely something for action on the first lap and can really shuffle up the order.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, if these guys, you know, make one mistake here, you're off, and that's lost you a load of positions on track. It's one of the few tracks actually I know the majority of the corner names. It's such an iconic track. You know, you've got 130R, Degner 1 and 2, Spoon, Casio Triangle. There's so many corners that a lot of people know, and it's one of the best tracks on the calendar in my opinion. You know, it's a classic race, and I'm sure we'll see action tonight. I think Silverstone is the only other one. Well, Silverstone and Monza, they're the only two that I know the majority of the corner names really.
Spa, a few of them. There's quite a few.
Oh, of course, Spa, yeah, and Spa.
I mean, every other track now on the calendar, it's just turn 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 19, 20, however many they got. It's a shame that even a track like USA, which has become a sort of modern classic, if you will, just has turns, numbers. It doesn't have anything, you know, which you can think of as being, you know, a name. As Ted seems to be going off at every corner, but I think it's lag.
Just on board with him, yeah. I think the last time wasn't lag, Joe, there. But yeah, like you said, I think there are some classic modern day tracks we've got, but there's no iconic names like we see with the older tracks. And I think as well, we've seen a lot of old tracks go now. You know, last week, Malaysia, that's off the calendar. That has been on the calendar for years and years, and that's now gone. I think that is a money issue over anything. But we are losing these iconic tracks, unfortunately. And as great as some of the modern tracks are, they're, you know, if you're India, they were there for, 2-3 seasons and they disappeared again. You know, that may be due to money, but they're not classics like we've seen with the older circuits.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame because some of them tracks you mentioned, India, South Korea, they're actually very fun to drive if you've driven them on the old F1 games. They're actually really nice circuits, and they had producing good races. I mean, I know that South Korea race in 2010. I know it was basically a monsoon, with a race really for most of it, but it served up probably one of the most iconic races in modern generation, with, you know, Webber championship leader crashing, Vettel engine going with a few laps to go, Alonso somehow stealing the win championship lead. So it's a shame that some of these tracks do. And the issue, I think, that they couldn't generate the interest, the people to go. I mean, South Korea as well, the location of that track was just awful. It was in the middle of nowhere, like some marsh fields. So it was going to be very tough to get that off the ground. But I mean, we've seen it in, you know, China, for instance, you know, big population as well there, same as sort of India, a great racing facility, and they've come up with what can, you know, that's going to be a track for many years on the calendar. So it can be done. I mean, as you see in USA as well, that's already perceived to be that modern classic. You know, it's just about getting that, I think, following to a track, as well as, you know, they've got the adequate funding, and it's just places like that just don't have it. So it's bad to see as well some of the classic tracks which are going. Say Malaysia, that's been around for about 20 odd years now. There's been, I mean, Monza and Silverstone have been, I can't imagine them going, but there's been a lot of talk of them disappearing off the calendar. We don't want to see that chick, do we? Especially with them being such good tracks.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we've had, you know, threats that Monza and Silverstone will go. Hopefully they don't go. Hopefully with the Liberty Media buying out Bernie Ecclestone, hopefully they'll bring in new contracts for them, and, you know, we'll see these classic racing tracks. Others, I think, with the older tracks, I think they had to pay a lot of money. I think Russia and Abu Dhabi pay something stupid to hold the Grand Prix at those locations. I think South Korea as well was, like you said, in the middle of nowhere. I think wasn't it like the track was actually like sinking or something silly because it was on marshland. So it's unfortunately for I know, like you said, it was a great track to race on as well, and India was in the game, but India wasn't the best track to watch on TV. But these guys with 2 minutes 15 to go, they've still just doing their out laps, and we should see some more flying laps come in towards the end of the session now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody is actually on a full lap. I think Ted might be. I've just had my onboard stuck with him, although it does sound like he's in a higher gear than normal for some corners. I think he's coasting by the looks of it. Either he's coasting or he's just very slow. Yeah, he's just coasting. I think he's given up on this current lap he is on. So he should nail only one attempt. He's going to have it qualified. He's only going to cross the line with about 1:25 left. So he's come round to an awful time to start a lap.
One shot wonder. It's going to look like for Ted. So yeah, I'll stay on board with Ted and see how he does. He will be. No, he won't be the last man round.
He is lagging a bit, so.
Yeah, not really sure what's going on. Hopefully, it doesn't affect any of the other drivers during this race. But still, Maranzano on pole by 2/10 over. Oh my God, it's Joe Jason in third, Ghost Crab in fourth, and V6 Racing runs with the top 5 at the moment. But there's still time for these guys to do more laps. Just on board with Ted as he comes towards signal 1 and 2. Seems to be nice and clean so far. How does he do? Yeah, it stays on track through this bit. JP has retired. Has he given up or has he crashed? Oh, he's crashed.
No, that's a crash.
Where is that?
Can't tell where. I think that's on.
S's?
I think it's part of the S's. I think it's the last right before you go left. Oh, there's a corner name for that. Dunlop. That's the one. As Maranzano actually does go. Oh, all the times are tumbling now. Good grief.
Yep, I was waiting for that to happen, and it's now Joe on top. And still got enough time for another lap, actually. I've seen Reynolds just bin it into the wall through the S's there, but Jason, Maranzano, and Joe all on laps are on. They're near each other on the track, actually, with Jason in the front of this little train. Ted has gone fastest by 3/10, and that he's the second man to finish here. Will anybody be able to beat Ted here or stay? Well, this session is pretty tantalising. These guys are all very close together, but oh, and he's off there, Ted. But Joe, Maranzano, and Jason, the man fighting for that pole. Langman, Hardly, and Almond going round. So, as Expert Almond has binned it, but still plenty of time for these guys to get another lap. Who else we got? We stay on board with Jason as he exit spoons towards 130R. Can Jason beat Joe and Ted? We'll have to wait and see. And Maranzano, of course. Yellow flagging sector 1 and 2. But let us know who you guys are supporting in the chat for tonight's stream. You're going to support the championship leader, or you're going to support his rivals? Let us know in the Twitch chat. What can Jason do? Jason goes second, 2/10 behind. What about Joe? Can Joe do it?
It looked like he had a bit of a moment out of the chicane, and yeah, he doesn't improve. It just looked a bit scruffy from on board, and Maranzano had come into the pits, so he obviously thought his lap wasn't going to be good enough. So Jason with a good enough lap to still P2 there, which I think was probably as good as it could have got in his quali session with Ted setting such a good time right at the end there. Such a crucial lap as well, having one attempt at it.
Yeah, Ted doing it right at the end of the session. So Ted gets pole, Jason in second, Joe third, Maranzano fourth, Reynolds in fifth, Ghost Crab sixth, V6 Racing in seventh, Melanie eighth, Langman in ninth, JP 10th, Hardy 11th, ECR Matty 12th, and Expert Almond rounds off the 13 drivers we have tonight. So it is race time, guys. This should be a tasty one here in Japan. We'll see if it rains or not. Just loading into the session, and be ready to go. Joe, do you know if we've got formation lap on? I didn't get a chance to check.
I don't know. But
Okay.
You mentioned this is going to be a tasty one. This is quite tasty, actually. I'm still finishing off these notes. Oh, it's a bit of an overcast race. It's not wet, but
Potential
I
rain.
don't know. It could potential. It says race starts soon. I think formation lap is on, but it might not be. I'm very sure it is.
I believe it is on for the SRL races, so we'll have to wait. Don't know where we go if we do come to it in 6 seconds sort of thing. But yeah, this race should be a good one. Get ready, guys. Well, maybe get ready. We'll have to wait and see. Have we got formation lap on? We do. Okay, so we've got time to a little bit of talking for today's race before it starts. So, Joe, who do you fancy for today's win? You know, we saw Ted last attempt getting onto pole, but you know, and he's off already, but you know, you've got Mr. Consistent in second place, Jason, and then you've got Joe, Maranzano, Reynolds all nipping at their heels. So who are you fancying for today's win?
I don't know. As you mentioned, it's going to be a very close one. I mean, I think all drivers did 2 laps on their qualifiers, which I see. That's an indication to me that there might be some rain at some point. It's just you wouldn't. This isn't a track you would tend to do 2 laps on your qualifiers. So rain literally mean anyone could win if it happens, and it happens at just the wrong time for some drivers. Say Jason, Mr. Consistent, Ted pulling out a showstopper of a lap, really, in his one-shot effort, and say a load of quick drivers behind. I don't know. It's going to be quite close to call. I mean, you can't bet against anybody other than Jason the way this season has gone. I mean, Ted's been lagging as well. Mustn't forget that. So that might impact the grid in some way. I don't want it to. You don't want to see crashes due to lag. It's horrible, but just got that funny feeling it might take 10 out of contention some way or another. Just somebody lagging across the front of his car, taking off a bit of his front wing. It could happen, Chick. And yeah, I'm going to go with Jason on this one. Be boring.
Okay, if you go with Jason, I'm going to go... I'm going to go with Ted. I'll change it up. I'll go with Ted. And Maranzano and Jason very close to them. But these guys are just lining up. Get ready. Beer, wine, vodka, squash, juice, whatever you got, get ready for it. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a tasty one. So wait for these guys just to get on.
Suggesting everyone's an alcoholic which is watching.
Well, I know I am, but you know we won't go into that. No, drink responsibly, please. But yeah, we're just waiting. For
don't drink and drive.
Yeah, and that. Don't drink and dive. Yeah, that would. Yeah, don't recommend
Dive.
that. Yeah. Don't drink and drive. Yeah, mix my words here. So we're just.
Don't mix your drinks either.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. I've done that many a time and it's gone very wrong. A lot of times. Just waiting. Who's missing? Joe is just coming around Spoon now. Joe's really taking his time.
Okay,
here.
he's giving me enough time to finish off my nuggets. I like him.
Fantastic.
What a man. He's thinking about me.
Oh, that's nice of Joe. Seems to be pausing and ghosting. So just going through 130R and then we'll be ready to go here in Suzuka.
In taking the mic with the formation, you probably take up to 5 minutes, probably 5-6 minutes.
Oh, really?
I know this. Yeah. And then the game does disqualify you from the formation that we're going too slow, but I doubt any of these are going to get disqualified for going too slow, Chick.
Yeah, I think so. You guys are a little bit too quick for that. So it's Rewind is thinking Joe's going to win, so that's someone else. But here we go. The lights are coming on. That is 3, 4, 5 red lights for the Japanese Grand Prix, and it's lights out, and away we go. Jason gets a great start off the line side by side with Ted as they come round towards turn 1. Maranzano's getting involved as well with Joe. Reynolds trying to go around the outside of Maranzano as well. Maranzano just about keeps Reynolds behind him. A little bit of contact there between the Force India and the Toro Rosso, but Ted still leads as they come through the S's, single file through this section. Don't want to be going side by side unless they're expert drivers, but Jason still on the back. It looks like Maranzano is under pressure from the Force India driver. Is right. Oh, he's made a mistake. Commentators cursing. He's lost a place to Gorge Cobbett, down to 6th place, and V6 Racing's right on the back of him as they come towards Degner 2. Any other position changes for you, Joe, further back?
No, as you say, it's pretty much all single file with Gorsh getting past Reynolds and Langman just gaining from Melanie. As I say, Melanie's actually lost another position. Oh, there's a bit of contact near the back, I think. One of the Red Bulls or the Renaults has lost a piece of their front wing. I'm not sure who that was. But yeah, it was pretty much all single file. Not too many position changes, not too many big winners in all of that. It was all decently tied until they got to the hairpin. Unfortunately, someone has... I'm not sure who it is, but someone's definitely going to be suffering now. I'm trying to find out who it was.
It's someone in the battle for 5th, I think.
Yeah, I think that is Reynolds who got on the inside of V6 Racing up the inside of 130R as Langman gives V6 a bit of a push. Oh, V6 has gone spinning into the pit lane.
Oh no.
It might be Reynolds with the damage actually, of course. I think Reynolds has a bit of front wing damage on his front right, so I have to look at that. And V6 definitely has damage all over the place.
Yeah, he spun at the worst point, span into the pits, and the game glitched him back onto the circuit, so he had no way of getting into the pits. So V6 has given up there, but Ted Almost got a second on Jason already. 6 tenths at the moment. Joe further back. Maranzano right on his heels. Gorge Crab, Joe's teammate. So Maranzano's in a Mercedes sandwich at the moment as they come through Degner 2. And Joe getting very sideways coming out of there. Will Maranzano make a move to the hairpin? No, a little bit too far back at the moment. Yet to have DRS enabled. And we could see rain here in Japan. The skies are looking pretty overcast. Can't see any sun.
JP. Oh, JP and his son Matty there just squeezing each other too much on the run to the hairpin. I think JP went off in one of the Degners because he had gravel on his tyres. Matty managed to go for exceeding track limits whilst being spun out onto the grass, so good game. They've lost a bit of time, and there's a McLaren going wide near the back as well. It's Expert Almond. Yeah, a few of these guys is not choosing to start on the super soft. I'm not sure what tyres are on, especially a couple of guys on the mediums and Almond on the softs, so I'm expecting to go long in this race. I'm not sure, so we're not sure what the weather is going to be like, but we know what the pace is going to be like. Gorsh Crab actually setting the fastest lap on lap 2 there, so that's quite interesting. Maybe he's not feeling the effects of dirty air back there in 5th, but he's catching up to these guys for the fight.
Yeah, he's catching up to 4th and 5th. Just it's been messaged by Bosley, and he's just said if we aren't aware, which we clearly aren't, if Ted doesn't outscore Jason by 7 points, Jason is officially champion of SRL. So if he stays in 5th points between 1st and 2nd, I believe. And so he should be okay until next round, but then Jason would have to crash out next round. Hardy Harley has left the session. Unlucky for the Sauber driver there. But Jason just set fast lap a second ago, but he is losing time to Ted ever so slightly through every lap. Joe is holding up this little train now. He's got Maranzano and Gorsh Crab behind him. I don't know whether these guys will use team orders. Maybe he's slowing down Maranzano to allow Gorsh Crab to catch up with him. I'm not 100% on that. Reynolds a little bit further back with Melanie. Langman behind, Expert Elmond in 9th, and Isiamati rounds off the top 10 for now, Joe, but there's still plenty more laps to go here in Japan.
Yes, there is plenty more action to come. I think Taylor just can't keep up with the pace just due to that front wing. Just go on board him. His front right as he actually pits on the end of lap 4. So yeah, his front wing definitely didn't look correct. I expect him to make a front wing change in this pit stop. I don't know what tyres he's gonna try on one stop from there. I mean, well, he puts on the mediums, so 23 laps on mediums. I am not sure. Maybe he is predicting rain from here. Oh no, it says super softs on the graphic. It says super softs on the graphic, but oh, now it's gone to super softs on his car as well. It was medium, so game. Come on.
Yeah, not sure what's going on there. Yeah, it was medium on the graphic as well, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. But surprisingly, Ted and Jason have slowed down a little bit, and Joe is caught right to the back of them. So we almost got a 5-way train for the lead now, Joe. So this is tantalising stuff in Suzuka. So this is great for those who are watching. Who do you fancy, guys? Let us know in the chat. It looks like a 5-way battle for the lead at the moment. Melanie a further 3 seconds behind, so if he can put his foot down, he can catch with he's under pressure from Langman, who is behind as well. Of course, DRS is now enabled, so we should see some more overtaking on the straight. Can we see any overtaking? RS overtakes at the moment as Isiamati gets a 3-second time penalty on lap number 4 as they come towards the Casio triangle, all nice and clean through this section. But that gap is closing now, Joe, between Jason and Feisty Ted.
Yes, and I'm not sure how effective slipstream will be, but Maranzano is definitely the closest to another car in this 5-way train for the lead. It's just going to be so hard for these cars to be catching up to each other and making overtakes. You've really got to rely on mistakes rather than being able to close up to somebody with the dirty air around it. It just doesn't allow for this sort of driving, as I believe Langman has got past Melanie, and I think Melanie's had a spin because he is 6 seconds back from Langman now, so there's been an incident between the two of them. Langman getting past, I can't see any notable front wing damage either for either driver, so that's a shame for Melanie there, who's having a good run of it. And so I'm going to expect him to maybe try and make a move on the Mercedes driver for P3 soon. Yeah,
definitely. He's on the pace. He currently has the fastest lap at the moment. The Toro Rosso driver, the man who's quite often on the podium, and it seems to be always on the podium when I commentate, funny enough. So I think I might be his good luck charm in these league races. So we might see him on the podium. He's very close to Joe at the moment, so we could see him move very soon. And like you said, Joe, through sector 1, there's a single file, so it's very difficult to overtake. And like you said, just waiting for people to make a mistake. And now that train is getting ever so closer. They're all bunching up now, so we hope we'll see some overtakes. They do have DRS on this straight, but it's difficult to overtake at this track. But Jason now 4 tenths behind Ted. They're all on the same strategy, all on the super soft, so they should all be coming in at the same time. Do you know they'll be coming in, Joe, for the next set of tyres?
Well, if they're going, I mean, we're not sure what the weather's going to do, but if it's going to be a one-stop race, super soft to medium, which I expect it will be, is Jason is right on the back of Ted's. He's less than a tenth behind, but he just can't do anything with it. I expect them to be coming in around lap 8, maybe, lap 8, 9 onto the mediums, and then being able to run them to the end. I mean, you might see someone pit in a bit earlier, like maybe even this lap 7, try and get an undercut. I think Jason's running a little bit scared here in second, shoot, because I'm seeing Ted's car having a bit of a disco in front of him, and I think he's just compromising his line into a couple of places where his car might be his Matty's retired from 10th place there. I'm not sure if he's crashed or not.
Yeah, he's
but
crashed.
Yeah, I think Ted's lag is just putting Jason off a bit, and he's in a really awkward position where he wants to push, because obviously he's in close proximity. He can't afford to get too close to Ted just in case he gets wiped out by his car. I hate being in that position when you're racing. I've had that a couple of times. It's just not nice. So Jason probably playing the percentage game there in P2 shoot.
Yeah, and as well, I'm sure he's been looking at the championship table as well. He could sit here and claim P2 and just wait till next week to win the championship. Because Jason, as long as he stays within 7 points of Ted, he can nail the championship next weekend. So we'll have to wait. And like I said, I think lag may be coming into it at the moment with what Ted's going on. Melanie comes to the pits, maybe to the front wing damage. She's on the mediums now, Melanie, down in 10th place. Still in the points, luckily, so you still got time. Gorge Cup gets a 3-second penalty. The back of this train dropped off slightly off Marzano and Joe now. And Joe also got a penalty. That might count against him if it's pretty close towards the end of the race. But still going strong at the moment. 7 laps out of 27, so 20 laps to go here in Japan for round number 16. But if you guys want to see more action, we've got the PS4 stream at 8:30, so go and check that out afterwards. I'm sure that will be another great race. But watch this one first, because this will be better, because we have better commentators. But we're still going on lap 7. Ted's still leading, and he's now got a second over Jason, Joe.
Yeah, I'm not. Say, Jason. God, it just must be awful running behind Ted. Not just at the paces. Maranzano pulls into the pits here, so he's the first out of the lead cars to really pull the trigger in these pit stops. I'd expect to see the likes, any of these drivers be coming in. Langman also coming in the background. It just must be awful for Jason, as you say, to having to run behind a car which he's not sure what quite is doing. As Maranzano goes on the soft tyres here, Chu, on the end of lap 7, sorry. So that's an interesting decision. Langman on the mediums, he'll be able to run them to the end. So, we've seen this from Toyota drivers. We see it in Hungary, I believe, where they went super soft instead of probably the optimum super soft medium. Were quite slow at the end and got picked off. So, Maranzano going for maybe just a quick undercut here and open to keep track position. It's very hard to pass here, but if you're on dead tyres, then any overtake should be easy. Except at Monaco, of course.
Yeah. I know that... and Joe's gone very wide at Spooner. That's going to allow Gorge to catch up with him as well. But I know Maranzano and Ted are in the same party, so they could be working at making sure they don't double stack here in the pits. That could be why Marzano coming in. But the choice of soft is questionable. Like you said, I don't think he go to the end. He potentially could, like in Hungary. It came to bite back at some of the drivers. So what about Joe? Joe is in the pit, so he is coming in. We'll see what he puts on, and we'll see if he pops out ahead of Marzano as well.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that Reynolds, who did go on to super softs after changing front wing, is only about 3.6 seconds behind Maranzano. Here's Maranzano's actually coming up to a bit of traffic with Expert Allman just in front of him on his older soft tyres. I can't imagine that this is going to be a terribly hard overtake for Maranzano to make, whether Expert Allman will just let him go. As actually, there's Joe coming out the pits. Oh, this is going to be awful for Maranzano. He wanted to get past Ormond. He goes off the track there, probably scared off the track. But he was going to go to the inside, and he had Joe right on coming out of the pit lane. On the inside, he had nowhere to go. He couldn't make it free abreast. It was not possible. And Joe's come out in front of him on the medium tyres, no less. So whatever Maranzano wanted to do with his undercut, he has just been absolutely stumped by the Mercedes driver. Probably held well on that lap, so it's just not worked out from there, Chuck.
Yeah, not great for Maranzano. His strategy not working out. If he's going to make the soft tyre work, he's going to have to he's going to have to overtake Joe ASAP, and Joe is stuck behind JP, who is yet to pit as well. So JP holding up these guys at the moment. I don't think he put up too much of a fight being on some worn super softs, but further up, and JP goes very wide at Spoon, and that has allowed Joe, without no competition whatsoever, for Joe to get past him. So that's helped Joe out massively being on those medium tyres. But Jason now in the pits. Will that cause Ted to come in next lap? We'll have to keep an eye on that, Joe.
Yeah, I'm surprised Ted has actually stayed out another lap. You mentioned what he did in Singapore, where he just stayed out a lap too long. I'm actually really not sure what he is doing. Maybe stretching it out to go on softs, as Jason's actually gone on to softs. It must be worth pointing out as well, Reynolds isn't even too far behind, so he could play a bit of a factor in this race. I believe that is Jason in P3 in this race, actually keeping ahead of Joe, so the undercut not proving that huge for these drivers. I mean, Joe wasn't really compromised too much by JP on that lap. As well, when JP did go off, Maranzano managed to get through as well, so Maranzano probably a bit of a winner in that, but Jason managed to come out ahead of these drivers on the soft tyre. It'd be really interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Ted. Ted, 10th lap on his super soft tyres and doing 2 laps in quali on them. I'm really not sure what he's doing out there, Cheat, still.
Yeah, you can see by the onboard camera and the broadcast cam that they are worn. The graining is there, so Ted surely got to come into the pits now. Like you said, 2 laps on those super softs in qualifying, so we'll have to wait and see. Coming through 130 yards towards Cassius Triangle, will we see Ted pitting? A big lockup from the Toro Rosso man, the man second in the championship, and Ted is into the pits. Will Toro Rosso penalty, but the person staying board with is Jason. Can Jason get Ted through the pit stop phase? That is what we're going to keep an eye on. Gorsh is also in, so he should come out sort of 5th, 6th place. But we'll stay on board with Jason. Can he beat Ted in the pit stop phase? That is the key thing. Key battle we have on track, and Maranzano and Joe are very close behind as well. So will Ted lose more places?
Well, I can't even see him. There he is, and he's going to come out in P4 here. It's just not worked out for him. I'm really not sure why he stayed out that extra lap. I mean, I know he's on the soft tyres now and can probably run this to the end, but he's got 3 very quick drivers in front of him, which he's going to have to overtake on track, Duke. And I can't imagine Maranzano putting too much of a fight up to him, you know, being his teammate, but getting past Joe and Jason's going to be incredibly tough on a track like this. So maybe a bit of a I just don't know what Ted was doing there. I really expected him to come in, I don't know. But waited for it. I'm completely stunned by that. completely stunned. Lost for words. Yeah,
Ted is pit stop strategy not working for him there. That's Gorsh Crab getting past Expert Emerald as well. Gorsh, Joe's teammate, is pitted already, and Maranzano is stopped on track. He's stopped. What on earth has gone on there? Is that an instant where you just, you have a glitch where you just stop mid-corner? You may have had that. He's left. He's left. No idea.
I'm not too sure what on earth has just gone on there. Well, I mentioned that Maranzano might not put up too much of a fight to Ted. Well, he hasn't. There you go. Ted's managing to get into P3, and that's bumped every other driver up behind him, actually, as JP comes into the pits. Well, I don't know. That must have just been some sort of lag problem. I'm really not sure what has occurred there, but it does mean that a bit of pressure from Joe from behind, at least, was being relieved, and he's actually pushing Jason decently hard here. I mean, he's on the slower tyre, and he's going to be... Well, he's expecting to be a bit quicker at the end of this race. If he can actually keep with him, I suppose a bit wide thing on there, if he can keep with him in these next sort of 6 to 7 laps, then you'd really fancy him to maybe have a go at Jason for this race win. I mean, it's all about keeping up with him, I'd expect, at this stage of his stint. And Ted's going to be putting the hammer down. And yes, I'm not sure what happened with Maranzano there. It's just got to be lag.
Must be.
And then I'm not sure what that does in terms of his championship standing. I know he's been doing okay, but it's really going to damage him. I mean, Joe might be a few points. Yeah, damaging to whatever prospects he had.
Yeah, unless Joe gets the... Well, no, if Joe... yeah, Joe would have to win to overtake Maranzano in the standings. Maranzano holds third at the moment, so Joe is 22 points. So if Joe wins, he will overtake Maranzano. But of course, Joe has a 3-second penalty, Joe. So that may count against him towards the end of the race. I think, like you said, Joe will come back into it towards the end of the race because of the medium tyres and Jason on the softs. But like you said, Jason isn't getting away. Joe's keeping him honest at the moment as he goes a little bit wider on Dunlop, but he's not doing too badly, only a second behind. Ted, not really catching. We'll keep an eye on the... I say that, he's just gained 5/10, so I shouldn't have said anything. So Ted, the man on a mission here. Jason and Ted yet to have any penalties, so those are the guys who are really battling away. Of course, Ted has to finish second to keep the fight, leave the championship. And Gorsh, too far back either. We haven't seen Gorsh up in the wild, Joe, so it'd be great to have someone else battling away for the lead. He is slowly catching as well. He's also on the soft strategy. And then further back we have Langman, Melanie, Reynolds, Expert, Almond, JP. They're battling away. The two McLarens having a great little scrap for P8. And then, of course, we're only down to 9 runners now, so whoever finishes will get points here in Japan.
Yeah, everyone's a winner who actually finishes. As you mentioned, we're going to have a good battle between the McLarens. I think JP's actually just been let past by his teammate there, rather sensibly so as well, with JP hitting the tyres. Worth pointing out, Reynolds did actually stop for the second time on that last lap as Ted sets the fast lap of the race. Yeah, Reynolds pitting again. Of course, he went super soft with his front wing damage. So he's in P7, but I'd expect him to maybe catch up to Melanie for the end of this race, maybe even Langman if things go his way. Gorsh is going to probably have a very lonely race in fourth. He's not going to be seeing many other cars unless there's instance further ahead or something happens to him. Maybe his tyres just completely die. As Jason's actually pulled out a 2-second gap to Joe, so I mentioned it's all about staying with Jason for the next few laps, and Joe's just... I mean, it was always going to be a big ask to keep up with such a good driver on a quicker tyre, and yeah, it's just something for Joe's going to fall into the clutch of Ted very soon, Chuck, and we may well see a very, very good battle.
Yeah, I was going to say that Ted is really on the pace now, catching Joe. And if these guys battle, if Joe manages to hold up Ted for a little bit, it could allow Gorsh to come into play. I think, like you said, Gorsh will have quite a lonely race down in fourth, but if there's a bit of a battle here, it could allow him to come back into play. Langman further back, keep an eye on these gaps, because everyone's on slightly different strategies here, as you can see by the tyre telemetry. But yeah, like I said, Jason getting that lead now, 2.1 seconds over Joe. Oh, Ted having a big there, and I didn't Ted has R's on top of his gamer tag as well when you go on board with someone else looking back on him. So yeah, Ted having some internet troubles here. Hopefully it doesn't cause anybody to crash out at all on track. But at this stage of the race, Joe, everybody a little bit spread out, so it does dull down a little bit here in these races. So let us know in the chat, guys, who you still fancy. Will Jason win it? Will Joe get it? Ted? Even Gorsh? Even someone else on the grid? Let us know in the chat and we'll read out your comments. And if you've got any questions about the race or anything about us, just let us know in that little chat on Twitch. But the gap is now under a second, Joe, between Ted and, well, Joe.
Yeah, it's really awkward commentating with me when you've got Joe in this race. But, I mean, I suppose it wouldn't be that bad if I was racing, which I can't imagine I will be doing. There's no point me doing. It's also worth pointing out as well, the skies are getting a bit clearer as well. The clouds are sort of dissipating somewhat. We're all seeing of that weather which we could have seen in this race, which, you know, a little bit of a shame, but does mean that we're going to ultimately see these strategies play out until the very final lap. So it's good in that respect. Know whether to shake this race up unless Cody's pulling madness and it suddenly starts hammering it down out of nowhere. But I feel like Joe's about to come under a lot of pressure too.
Yeah, it does look like Ted has caught him rapidly here on lap 15 as they start lap 16. Just a heads up, Joe, it was Marazon had wheel issues and that is why he had to retire, unfortunately. So not ideal for the Toro Rosso driver here in Japan, but hopefully he can come back strong next week in... Is it USA next week? I completely...
Yeah, but USA.
Yeah, it is USA. Yeah, the Modern Classic, as we said earlier in qualifying, Joe. So I'm sure we'll have another tantalising race there, and hopefully we have some of the other drivers back for the race. But Ted right on the back of Joe as he comes through Degner 1 and 2. Will he be able to make a move towards the hairpin through Sector 2? Right on the back now. 3 tenths between Joe and Ted. Ted brakes nicely. He's going to have to get past him pretty quickly if he wants to keep up with Jason, who is a further, well, 3.6 seconds ahead. So Ted's going to have to make this move stick pretty soon as it comes towards Spoon. Can Ted make any ground on Joe? Joe, of course, on the mediums, on a different strategy to Ted. So we'll have to wait and see how his tyres pan out towards. Joe will, of course, come back towards the end of the race to come down the straight towards 130R. Ted is weaving, or that might be a lag, I'm not 100%. Through 130R, Ted still a little bit too far back. 3 tenths now. Joe goes very wide as he comes towards the Cassius triangle. Ted's still a little bit too far back at the moment, Joe, but he could see a move on the DRS straight, and Ted gets a penalty.
Ted. Oh, no. Just cut in the last part of the chicane there. So that means he has to get past Joe for position now with both of them having a penalty. Oh, it's just such a stupid mistake for Ted to make there. He did not have to cut that corner at all. Well, any chance of a race win, I think, is going to be gone, because I can't imagine Jason even having probably a warning at this stage. So for Jason's aspects of winning the championship, as Ted gets a really good run out of Dunlop there, and they're going to be side by side into Degner 1. Oh no, Ted tried to hang it around the outside. It was never going to work. Into the gravel trap there. So yeah, Jason's aspirations of winning this title here in Japan looking very, very good, especially with these two battling and Jason pulling a big gap.
Yeah, I think Ted's shot himself in the foot there, Joe, by getting that penalty and going wide at Degner 1, and he's gone wide at Spoon as well.
There has just gone on board, and Reynolds is right on the back of him. Now, I mentioned Reynolds could be someone on the move, having to pit onto soft tyres with half the race to go, and he gets a very good run out the airpin there, expecting to claim P6 Melanie. I don't think can put up too much of a fight here in the battle for P6. So Reynolds doing a decent recovery drive after sustaining front wing damage. I'm not sure how he got his front wing damage, but now into P6, 10 seconds behind Langman though, with 9 laps to go. Be worth keeping an eye on that gap. I can't imagine anything coming of it. But yeah, Ted, I think he's just a bit frustrated with the way he's driving with that mistake I've just seen him make through turn 1 and 2. Yeah. Bit hot-headed there.
Yeah, I was going to say he's hot-headed. He's pushing a little bit too hard, and that's caused him to make those tiny mistakes which cause so much time in these F1 games. And yeah, he's really shot himself in the foot, and he's really struggling to get past Joe here. Trying to go around the outside at no one wasn't the most wasn't the smartest of moves, let's say, to do here in Japan. But it's nice and sunny now, it looks like, in the sky. But that gap between Reynolds and Langman is closing. So like you said, we'll keep an eye on that battle with 9 laps to go here in Suzuka. Jason with a 4.8 lead here. And currently, Jason will win the championship if Ted stays in P3. So still plenty of racing here to go in Japan. And Gore still in 4th, not really gaining much. I thought he might come back into it towards the end of the race, but he's not really at the moment. But Langman's a little bit further back. Reynolds, like we said, is catching Langman ahead, and Melanie struggling on those mediums, not really getting anywhere. He's still in the points, but down in 7th. You got JP in 8th, and Expert Emerald miles back, down 29 seconds behind his teammate.
Yes. Oh, as Ted makes another mistake there through turn 1 and 2. He's gone wide there. I believe that'll be a warning, as well as... Oh, no, it was just lag. It was just lag. Oh, that's
yeah,
fantastic. It looked like he completely went off. And oh, dear. That's actually quite funny. I might record that. But yeah, Joe's under a lot of pressure. They're having to take a bit of a compromise line into Degnan 1 as they come up to a ghost car of Hardly Hartley. He's managing to feature in this race once again. So there's your track time. Yeah, I honestly thought Ted had made a mistake, lost a couple of seconds, got another warning, but no, all was apparently fine, apart from his internet, as it seems.
Yeah. Ted, and I don't know. I think, like you said, I think he's just all over the place. Really, he's getting frustrated, and his tyres, of course, will be going off as well, Joe. So Joe will actually start. I'm surprised Joe hasn't actually got further away from Ted and actually caught Jason. I don't mean that just made the pace around the track, but I thought Joe would sort of catch up being on the medium tyres.
I believe that the next couple of laps is where we'll start seeing the mediums to become better than the softs. I mean, the softs are a very good race tyre around here. I mean, they're going to be a lot quicker through the first few laps of this, but it's like the last 5 laps of the stint which I can especially see him pulling away. I mean, we mustn't forget as well, Ted did stop quite late to go onto these softs, so his tyres should be quick enough to go to the end of the race and probably keep the pressure on Joe. Really, I can't imagine Joe really getting away from Ted as such. I can imagine Jason maybe struggling, but as Joe again, he gets a really bad run through Dunlop there, and he's just having to run so compromised. But Ted, learning from his earlier mishap through Degnan 1, he just cannot hang it around the outside there. I suppose Jason has been able to ease up on his tyres, not put too much stress on them, whilst managing to pull a gap, no less. So just Mr. Consistent there, doing his own boring thing, and well, it's working. As Reynolds gets a 3-second time penalty. I'm not sure if that's his second penalty or not. I don't know if we've seen get penalty, and we have. So he's got 6 seconds. As Joe's still under that Ted pressure. Joe.
Yeah, he really is under the cosh now from Ted. Will he dive down the end? Oh, it's a bit of contact there. Looks like, luckily, no damage for either car. Ted, a late lunge into the Casio triangle, but doesn't make the move stick. Unfortunately, Joe is defensive as they come towards turn 1. Is half a second between both drivers as they come round. This sweeping right-hander gorge crab has left the session. No. The man in 4th place is left, unfortunately, so that might get back into 4th. Reynolds actually is caught sort of about 3-4 seconds on Langman. Still 6 laps to go. So, I say that Langman has gone miles off at turn 1, Joe, and that will allow Reynolds to catch right up to him now. So we will see a battle for P5, hopefully, in the latter stage of this race. Now 4.1 seconds between 5th and 6th.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly invite Gorsh to the session if nobody else can send him an invite, just so if it is just the game kicking him off, he can get back into this race. That would be a shame if he was to lose 4th in such a manner.
Ted's gone.
But yeah,
Ted's gone.
Ted's gone as. Oh,
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I don't.
Internet issue strike again in F1 2017, Joe.
Oh, this isn't good. I'm gonna have to invite him as well. Yeah, really looking at it as such. I mean, Gorsh has managed to rejoin. I'm going to invite Ted back into the race as well. So yeah, I'm not sure what has happened over the past lap. I've just been inviting drivers which have been lagging out. And Langman is actually only a second behind Gorsh's car. Gorsh has actually just managed to get back into the session. So hopefully we might see a good battle here, actually, if Gorsh manages to get into his car quick enough. You never know. But I think Landman's going to get him here. Yes.
Oh,
Gorsh...
no.
Oh, no, it's Petty.
Oh, no, he's got to get him into the pits.
As the host is migrating. Who's the host? Jason's left. Jason's gone as... What is happening here?
What's
Joe's
going
gonna
on?
go into the lead.
Ted's left again.
3 of the top 4. Langman...
Oh, no, what's
Langman's
going
left
on
as
here?
well.
Is
everybody disconnecting? Jay... Oh, wow.
Uh-oh.
Who is left? Melani's left. What?
I have no idea. I'm just messaging the SRL guys now and see what they say. Here.
I mean...
Who's technically in the... Expert Alman is technically the race leader. We're finished. Oh dear. Okay, so Joe, I've just had a message off the guys, and that is race done apparently. So apparently they'll take the results before the desync. So I believe Jason is champion. So Joe, you even here?
I was connecting for the longest amount of time. I'm not sure if this is even an F1 issue or an Xbox issue, because I was just connecting the pipe for the past 30 seconds, commenting to myself. Yeah, it's changed everyone's name to do. In this session, as you say, that was a good tweet from Melanie. A list of things, co-masters need to do, or co-masters bloody sort it out.
So, to confirm, the podium, Joe, is Jason, Joe, and Ted. So that means Jason is SRL's Season 5 champion with 4 races to go, which is absolutely amazing. Mr. Consistent strikes again. So we'll get these guys. I know Ted has just joined us, but we'll get Jason and Joe in as well. I invite them. I don't think I can. Left the session. Ted, if you don't mind inviting them, I know you're hearing us now. That would be fantastic. I don't think I've got Jason and Joe as friends on Xbox. Joe, you've got them as friends?
I'll invite. I think I've got Joe.
So I'm not in the lobby anymore.
The other 2. There'll be recent players, won't they? They'll be on my recent players.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Yeah, they are. They are my recent players. It was Joe, wasn't it? Yeah. That's a very anticlimactic ending to that race. It was, we had the strategies to play out with them last few laps, and so we're not even sure what on earth has just occurred there. That's...
Yeah.
Well...
Not sure at all. Yeah, unfortunately, the race finished in, well, like you said, Joe, an anticlimactical fashion. But we'll just get these guys in.
To disconnect.
Yeah,
ready from the party.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Is that an indicator that his internet went funny?
Jason disconnected from the... Oh, okay. Alright. Well, at this rate, Ted will just be interviewing you instead. So, we'll just wait to see if Joe can get in. Okay, so Joe and Ted, if you can include your audio, that would be fantastic. And we'll just chat to you as Jason is disconnected. So we'll try and invite him again. And Joe's not connecting either. So at this rate, we'll just interview you, Ted.
I mean, my little brother's having a massive kick-off, but yeah, probably like...
Oh, we could hear him. Can we interview your brother?
Probably going to stay to this game, innit?
Yeah, well, Ted, if you include your audio, we'll just interview you. Unfortunately, your title hopes are over, and unfortunately the game crashed on us, so we couldn't see you battling away with Jason at the end. But still another podium, I guess, which is adds to your streak. But did you seem to try and do the overcut with the super softs, and it just didn't work out for yourself?
Well, I wasn't doing any overcut, to be fair. Well, it was obviously. I was going to pit on lap 11 anyway, I think, on the softs, but I don't think I would have got past Joe, to be honest. Because you literally can't overtake on this game, because there's no slipstream, but I think I'd have got P3 anyway, so. And then obviously everyone disconnected. I thought I was the only one, because my internet's been like really shit lately on F1. Like everything else is fine, but yeah, I think the results would have been the same, to be fair. So
yeah, you seem to be struggling behind Joe on when he was on a slower tyre. Unfortunately, you seem to just get frustrated behind him, and you both had penalties, so you both were in the same position.
Oh, he had a penalty as well. Oh shit.
Yeah, you both had 3 seconds, it seemed, but it seems we do have Joe and Jason back in the party, and everyone seems to be connected, luckily. So guys, if you can include your audio, that would be fantastic. And well, Joe, the amazement Joe, do you want to interview the SRL champion?
Yeah, we've sort of ruined that for you there slightly by mentioning that, but Jason, congratulations on winning the SRL title there. Bit of a weird race, that one, towards the end especially, but you did look very comfortable in that race, so say congratulations on the race win and subsequent championship. You have won, just tell us about your race and, maybe just your season, really, we've seen how it's gone, just being boring, podium or win every race near enough, so yeah, tell us about your race and, how happy are you to win this championship?
Thanks. Yeah, very, very happy. Unfortunately, not the best way to do it with that disconnection. I don't know if it's my internet or what. But, yeah, that's the race. It was pretty much exact same as Singapore. Qualified second. Stayed behind Ted for first stint. Undercut him by 1 lap. And then he got held up behind. So, yeah. Great.
I don't know what happened with Manzana. I don't know if his wheel
his wheel disconnected.
Yeah,
is what we learned. But
and then he just,
I must mention. Yeah, sorry. I must mention as well. Was you a bit scared of Ted's car, Jason, earlier on that stinks? We did see him lagging in some parts.
Yeah,
I thought he was.
I'm literally trying to solve it and why I'm lagging and shit like that. But honestly, I might try wireless again because it wasn't too bad, except for in Spain, in ULC. But honestly, I don't know if I can carry on playing this game. It's fine on other games, but on this one, it just.
Well, I think it gave up the ghost of everybody in that session. We had the to-do list back again when everyone had lagged out, and I was pretty much the only person in there. So, what a game! But yeah, congratulations, Jason, on your win and the SRL season 5. Season 5? I think it's season 5 championship. So yeah, congratulations on that, and Cheek, let you carry it away for our second place. Second place,
man. Yeah, Joe, congratulations on another podium. You seem to you love it really, and it just worked out, and you got a podium. It was a great performance from yourself.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird race. Not gonna lie, I did barely 1 lap of practice, so I didn't really know what the strategy was, which is why I went on mediums, because I had no idea, to be honest. And for the first few laps of the mediums, they're pretty good. I was keeping with Jason quite nicely. Then they started to just suddenly just die, and I think I had like some understeer glitch or something because they were just horrible. I was losing about a second a lap within just 1 lap difference. It was just really weird. So yeah, that kind of hampered me, which is why I was holding up Ted so much. And yeah, that's pretty much it, really. And
Yeah,
I thought I won the race when everyone disconnected. I was like, oh my god. And I saw everyone else just leaving. I was like, oh no, I've disconnected.
Yeah, that would yeah, I imagine. Yeah, were you sort of stressing that Ted was right on your backside the whole time through that after the first pit stop phase?
Not really, because I was running pretty low wings, so I knew I could keep him behind. It would have been a challenge, but I knew I could have done it, so not really, but
I wouldn't have got past you, to be honest.
yeah,
I wouldn't have.
this game, Slipstream.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, congratulations to the top 3, and congratulations again to Jason on winning the SRL Xbox title. And yeah, I just want to thank Joe or The Amazing for joining me in the commentary box this evening for the broadcast. And if you want some more SRL action, don't forget to check out the PS4 stream with Ginger Andy and Ash Dawson, at 8:30. So go and check that out, and we'll see you very soon for round number 17 at the Circuit of America. Good night.